Wonderful. So this meeting is being recorded. It's going to record our voices and what I share on my desktop. But we'll all turn off our cameras so that we can have the bandwidth that we need. I'm going to show you a PowerPoint presentation and hopefully answer lots of questions. So I'll start by introducing myself, and I'll just kind of call on each of you to just give us a brief introduction. Many of you have spoken with me already. I'm Remy Pangle. I work at JMU in our Center for Wind Energy, and I host the Virginia KidWind Challenges. This year, the Dominion Energy KidWind Challenges, as they have been a continued supporter of our program. So we've made the leap this year. So I am going to pass it off to Elizabeth. If you could tell me where you teach, what you teach, and how you got interested in the KidWind Challenge.
I teach in Grant County, West Virginia at Union Educational Complex. I teach 7th through 12th science, so I teach all of science. I'm the entire science department here. And I was forwarded an email from my principal urging me to get involved.
That is a good reason to get involved. Awesome. How about Gary?
My name again is Gary Dickens. I'm the chemistry and physics teacher at Northumberland High School in Heathsville, Virginia. It's about as far east in mainland Virginia as you can go without getting into the bay. We just got our wind turbine up and running, and actually it's been running but communicating this past year so that I can incorporate it into...
Again, this is a reminder that our leadership team meeting will start in the library in about 4 minutes. Leadership team meeting in 4 minutes. Thank you.
We made a push to get our Raspberry Pi working so that we could use the data in my physics program this year. And just trying to keep in touch and learn about this KidWind Challenge at the same time.
That's fantastic, and Gary, I'm so happy to have you on here. Number one, I'm great to hear that you got the Raspberry Pi communicating. Number two, we have never had a team from Northumberland compete in a challenge before.
Okay, all right. I don't know that. I don't know that we will put a team together this year, but we. And when I say we, our 6th grade science teacher is interested in doing so at some point. We want to at least start the learning curve about the challenge.
Of course, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the resources that we can provide to help a team get started. That, of course, you can participate in all of those things this year and not register a team, just to get the information. So we're happy to help you in any way we can, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Randy.
How about Mike?
Hi, I'm Mike Craddock from Albemarle County, the county that surrounds Charlottesville. I'm the associate principal at our lab school campus, so I have a middle school called Community Middle School and a high school called Murray High School, both on the same campus, same building. We are got a from Remy last week, and while we've had in the county people participate in KidWind Challenge, I think it's certainly something that we could do more of and have more representation in the competition. So I'm here to learn about it on behalf of our middle school group, which will be expected to participate this year.
Yeah, and we're holding on in Charlottesville, so it doesn't get any easier than that.
Yeah, definitely.
How about Wanda? Are you there? All right, so we may have technical issues with Wanda. I've worked with Wanda she's at Waynesboro High School, teaches career tech education, and we're excited to have her here in hopes that we'll get the Waynesboro folks to participate at the high school level this year. Linda, how about you?
Hi, I'm Linda Doherty. I'm an elementary challenge teacher, and Rockingham County at 2 schools, and I'm planning on having wind clubs at my 2 schools for 4th and 5th graders again and entering the challenge.
Awesome. Great. And then I think we have a call in use number 2. If you can hear us, you are welcome to introduce yourself.
And that might have been me. I was having trouble getting on, and I clicked on that, so that may be.
Okay.
I may be 2 people.
That's fine. Okay, so the format for today, I'll just, you guys are welcome to turn your cameras off unless you really want to keep it on, but I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see a PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll explore some websites that could be helpful if, as you're working towards either prepping a team or just bringing wind energy into your classroom. This super informal. Stop me if you have any questions. There is a chat feature, so if you have any questions and you're on mute and you don't want to unmute yourself, just chat with me. I have it open, so I'll see if you have any questions. And if I have any links, I will try to share it in the chat so that you have it instead of trying to copy it off my screen. Okay, so with that, let me share my screen with you. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, so like I mentioned, this year Dominion Energy's name will be on the challenges. This is not the official logo, but just know that we appreciate Dominion Energy and all of their support through the years and this year. We are also looking for regional sponsors for each of the events. So if you have any thoughts of folks that might want to give to help these challenges, we're open to ideas. Okay, I thought I'd start very quickly with a history of KidWind. So the KidWind project is a company that's based in Minnesota. The project was founded by Mike Arquin in 2002. He was a middle school science teacher who just thought, you know what, there needs to be better stuff to teach about wind energy in the classroom. So KidWind was really focusing on making wind energy education better and by making materials and tools that are accessible in your classroom. So all of the pieces and parts to make a turbine, there's lots of different pieces that you can get that were designed and manufactured by KidWind. And KidWind now sells their parts through Vernier. And so if you guys are familiar with the Vernier probes, we use those probes in the challenge, and Vernier sells all the wind energy equipment. And I'll show you the website if you guys are interested in seeing where all that is. So KidWind Challenge was started in, I think, 2009. So a couple years in, they realized this would be cool to have this like culminating experience. You're learning about wind energy in your classroom, you're playing with this cool stuff. Now, what do we do with it? What's the ultimate goal? So getting students excited about renewables, really focusing on its relationship to climate change, making sure the students have opportunities to build, test, explore, and understand wind energy technology, focusing on underrepresented populations and specifically girls, getting them excited about STEM careers, specifically renewable energy, but all STEM careers. And with this focus on students, they understood that they needed to also build the capacity of the teachers and coaches, educators that are going to help them get to that point. So they do focus on professional development as well. So that's kind of where the KidWind Challenge came from and what it's doing. So since 2009, just to give you a scale, but this is way bigger than Virginia, over 15,000 teachers have been trained to prep a team for KidWind Challenges. Over 800,000 students have been impacted. They've held over 140, I think it's closer to 150 something, challenge events hosted across now 23 states. So I think they added like 30 challenges last year. So it's getting close to 200 challenges in over 20 states. And then they do something called the Recharge Academy, which Linda just came to this over the summer. It's a week-long teacher professional development workshop where they get the whole week to really focus on wind energy, teaching materials, curriculum guides, but also the stuff, the hands-on stuff. And then they also roll in solar as well. And over 200 of those guys have been trained or out there doing KidWind Challenges. So in Virginia, we picked up the KidWind Challenge in 2012 and started offering this. In 2012, we hosted one challenge, and since then, it's just grown in popularity, and we've started offering multiple regional challenges throughout Virginia. And in 2014, KidWind Challenge started offering a national challenge. So you'll see that we, the bolded cities and locations are those where we have sent folks to nationals. So last year, we held our challenges in southwestern Virginia, eastern Virginia, and northern Virginia, and the national competition was in Chicago. Our total impact on our challenge, over 200 teams, over 2,500 students, coaches, and judges, and I have to say that our teams tend to do very well at nationals. I don't know what it is. They say there's something in the water, but I just think that our Virginia teachers are amazing, and you guys do wonderful things. So that's just the background on KidWind. Does anybody have any questions before I get into this year and some teaching resources that are available? I'm going to call that a no. Okay. Well, stop me anytime if you have a question. So this year, our 2019 Dominion Energy KidWind Challenges are going to be held in 4/5 locations. So we're keeping our northern challenge. This will be in Winchester at Shenandoah University, so nice and close to West Virginia. We're holding a southwestern challenge at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, an eastern challenge at Dominion in Norfolk, and our central Virginia challenge we have added because our eastern and our southwestern got so big that the day got really long. And there's a couple people who can really attest to that. So we're hoping by holding one in Virginia or in Charlottesville will lessen the day for all of them and make everything a little bit more manageable. We are hoping to do a DC challenge at George Washington University. But that will very much focus on the DC folks and maybe even some Maryland folks to come out to that one. We're still trying to get a hold of the dates. The only ones that have been set right now are Shenandoah University and ODU. And as you'll see, our challenges are in the spring. So we focus on March. We'll probably go into early April for our challenges because the National KidWind Challenge this year is not until the end of May in Houston, Texas. So that gives us a little bit more time to have some later challenges and still give teams that qualify for nationals time to raise money and get their permission slip signed and stuff like that. So I want to remind you, and especially for folks like Northumberland, if putting a team together just seems way too daunting for this year, you're super excited about wind energy, KidWind and now Recharge Labs have these online challenges. So you can still do this in your classroom, not on a super huge scale, and still if you win your monthly online challenge, you still get invited to the national competition in Houston. So again, it's a fun way to give the students a feel that what they're doing has purpose without feeling like you have to prep to come to an event. So could be a nice option. And the wind turbine design challenge is in there. There's a MacGyver windmill challenge, and I'm more than happy to talk to you guys about that. It's a little less in-depth than the wind turbine challenge. And then there's the solar design, solar house design challenge, which we're hoping to move that into a solar challenge, like an in-person challenge as well. And Linda, I did see your question, and yes, you are more than welcome to participate in any online challenge and still come to an event. It doesn't matter. And you're more than welcome to come to every regional event that we host in Virginia. You don't have to just come to one. So, you know, Elkton's kind of halfway between Charlottesville and Winchester, so, you know, maybe you come to both of them if you want.
But coordinating that sounds like a nightmare.
But hey, you know, there are teams in other states that have gone to multiple regionals until they win, so they can go to nationals.
It could happen, but I don't want to go to nationals. My school board will have a fit.
Remy?
Yes.
Remy, the DC George Washington Challenge, you had that on your map also. Why did you include that?
Well, we are hoping to hold a DC challenge, but it's not one that's going to be supported by the Dominion Energy grant that we get. But I know that KidWind is really interested in getting a challenge in DC. They've never had one before, so I'm working more with the national KidWind folks to get one happening in DC and maybe even Delaware, maybe Vermont. So these are kind of outside my Virginia realm, but still things that a Virginia team might come to.
Okay.
I'm not making as much headway. It's not high on my priority list as getting the rest of these scheduled, but it's in the works.
Okay.
So
all right,
between George Washington and Howard University, they're kind of trying to figure out where they'd put us.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I'll keep you posted. All of this will be on our website, and you'll see those updates or you'll see emails as things happen. Good questions. So I'm going to get into a little bit of the details of the challenge at this point. Again, stop me if you have questions. So the one thing that I really like about the KidWind Challenge is that it's a nice round event. So it is definitely an engineering design competition where kids are going to build a wind turbine. They build it in advance. They bring it the day of the challenge. That turbine is 30% of their score. In terms of how they build it, the building, the construction of it, how they can explain what they did, why they did it. And then another 20% has to do with the way they can document and illustrate their learning process. So an engineering design notebook, a PowerPoint presentation, something that is going to tell the judges that they didn't just pick one design and go with it, but they had many iterations, and they learned every time they did an experiment, they learned something. And so that 50% of your score is done behind closed doors. So it's like kind of like the science fair, but we put you in a separate room so it's not so loud, and it's maybe not as nerve-wracking because you're not in front of everybody. But they get to go into a little classroom or conference room and talk to the judges for 10 minutes, and that's where 50% of their score comes from. So the big green 35% has to do with their turbine, but this one is now your performance testing. So this is where you get into the wind tunnel. The picture on the right shows our wind tunnel and our turbines in there, and they test in the wind tunnel to generate the most energy that they possibly can. So we're measuring voltage and current over a 30 ohm resistor to get a power output, and then we integrate that over 60 seconds. And we'll get deeper into that. And then the last 15% is based on knowledge of the subject matter, and we do that by a really, I won't call it a simple, but a multiple choice quiz that they can take as a team. And I will also tell you a little bit more about what you would expect to be covered in that quiz. Okay, so here's the details, a little bit more detail on the testing, the performance testing. Again, 35% of the score comes from testing their turbine in the wind tunnel. The teams are then ranked by their energy output. So it's a ranking system, which is kind of nice. So if like the first person gets a ton of energy and then the next person only provides, only generates a little bit of energy, it's only 2 points between them. So that's kind of a nice way to do it. Our wind tunnel is a 4-foot by 4-foot cube, and the wind speed in the tunnel varies between 3.5 and 5 meters per second. Very likely you're going to end up seeing 3.5 meters per second because we have 2 wind tunnels and they're going to need to match. Trial testing period is available so that they can tweak their designs before they're tested. This happens the day of the challenge. In the morning, we'll have the wind tunnel open. I think we're going to do testing a little different this year, so you may have more than that to test in the wind tunnel before your final quote-unquote test. But on top of that, we are also offering practice days this year, and they'll happen 2 to 3 weeks before the actual challenge. If you're a team that's registered, you'll get you'll get an email and invitation, and you can come out to. It's like an open house, so there's no RSVPing, there's no registration. You just show up, and the wind tunnel will be open for 4 hours, and you can get some time inside the wind tunnel. Again, weeks before the event. So if something detrimental happens, you have no idea that's what the wind tunnel is going to be like. You've got time to fix it. Again, we're creating a circuit with a 30 ohm resistor, so you do have resistance on that circuit, and that changes things. If you're in your classroom using a voltmeter to just measure an open circuit on your turbine generator, it's going to look a lot different when you get into that wind tunnel with our testing monitoring equipment. And again, yes, it's collected over 60 seconds. Does anybody have any questions about the testing? And I'll note that the picture in this on this slide of the turbine is facing the fans, and this is an old wind tunnel where the fans would blow air through the tunnel. Now you would turn your turbine around because those fans are turned around and they're actually pulling air through the tunnel, so the air is coming from outside the box, if that makes any sense to you. Okay, and in the judging, we talked about that. It's not really 65% of the score because some of that's the subject matter quiz, but 50% of their score comes from talking to these judges. And that's describing their turbine design, why they chose the design, showing their documentation of their process. Again, that can look many different ways. It can look like a presentation that the kids just give while they point at different parts of their turbine. Some kids will bring blades that they tried 3 months ago so they can see the blades that they started with and the progression to the blade that they ended up with. Some will bring a video, a PowerPoint presentation. A lot of teams use a trifold poster board like they do in the science fair. Some will have engineers' notebooks. I mean, it looks different for everybody. Some will sing songs. I think that's fantastic when they sing songs. And then, like I said, the last part of the quote-unquote judging and the subject matter understanding is the quiz. And that is, again, 15% of the score, 15 points. And the topics, if you read the rules, which I will show you where to find the rules, but basically we call it like the Big 10 questions. So they outline 10 big concepts that the students should understand in order to demonstrate their knowledge. So the different types of wind turbines, climate change, being aware of how we use our energy and where we get our energy from, community controversies, the funding and subsidies related to renewable energy, turbine technology and efficiencies, the power equation, which is some great math for the kids to better understand and predict how much power they can get out of their turbine, the causes of wind, where would you put a turbine, what are some of the jobs, and then variability of the resources or intermittency, and how do you deal with the intermittent resource of renewable energy. So that's, and then we also, in Virginia, we will then add in some questions about Virginia-specific projects. So, like, how many wind turbines is Dominion going to put offshore of Virginia? What county are they going to build the first wind farm in? You know, things like that. And then generic stuff like how many homes can a 1 megawatt wind turbine power? What state has the most wind turbines? You know, things like that. So just having some of that information down. This is a basic summary of the rules. One of the big things KidWind aimed to do was to not bog folks down with huge rule books. So it's pretty simple. They're really encouraging creativity. Basic rules are it's got to fit in the wind tunnel. It has to be powered only by wind, so you can't add another generator. You can't put a fan on it. The turbines have to start by themselves. You can't push them to get them to start spinning. You can have a vertical or horizontal axis. You can use gears and even pre-packaged gearboxes. But blades have to be made by the team. You cannot use a pre-made airfoil like in the picture here. The turbines can only use one generator, and you can get the generator at that link right there, and I'll show you that. Each team, this is a big one that people forget. Each team, if you want to bring 3 teams from your school, that's fantastic, but every team has to have their own full turbine. They can't just bring the blades and share tower. So that's a big one. And then, of course, the judges get the final determination of safety. So unsafe turbines will be disqualified. Again, they say metal blades are an example of unsafe, but if you look at the picture over here, as long as the judges determine that those metal blades are secured with bolts and not duct tape or super glue, you know, they're going to okay that. So we've had a lot of problems with this rule because people do show up with metal blades, but they're well connected and they're not unsafe, and people get mad because they thought they couldn't use metal, period. So just note that that's all determined as long as it's safe, they can use whatever material they want. Maybe not a knife. Okay. And that's kind of the extent of the rules. Do you guys have any questions about that kind of stuff before maybe I go into talking about some resources available? Am I going too fast?
No.
Awesome. Okay, so we have an advanced wind challenge. So this is, you know, the KidWind Challenge. It definitely is for 4th grade through 8th grade for the middle school division and 9th grade through 12th grade for the high school division. The challenge is not any different for middle school students or high school students, just the level at which they're going to take that on. But we have teams who've been doing this challenge for 5+ years, and they're just getting to the point where they need a bigger, better challenge. So we've created this advanced wind challenge. We're really focusing this on getting more high school teams to participate, but we're happy to have any team that wants to take this challenge on go for it. The big change is that they cannot use any KidWind parts. And I'll show you what some of these parts are, but the big one is the generator. You can't even use a KidWind generator. You're either going to build your own generator, or KidWind is putting out a new advanced generator. So at Nationals last year, we had a middle school team, I think, or a team that was using the KidWind generator, melted the generator because their blades were so advanced, it created way more energy than the generator could actually generate, and it just melted. So they're putting out a larger turbine or generator so that kids can focus on those advanced blades. Or, like I said, you can build your own generator. So this is a picture of a team that built their own generator. And so that's kind of what that would look like. And then for those in the advanced challenge, if you're going to take on the advanced challenge, we're also going to scaffold the judging a little bit for you. So you'll still present to the judges. We may require a couple different things, but the knowledge quiz will be no longer a quiz, but a presentation where they're applying their knowledge to talk about a current issue in wind. So last year, they talked about obstacles to wind development, offshore wind development. So that's the advanced challenge. Again, this is not something you have to take on. It's out there. If you think CTE folks in your county would be more excited because this is less a kit and more, I don't know, heavy-duty engineering, then by all means, share this with them, and we'll be happy to have them. So the day of the challenge, I have a video you can watch, but pretty much this is the day you bring everything with you. So you bring your turbine, you bring your blades, you bring your presentation, you bring your documentation, bring a bunch of tools, because if something breaks, you're going to want to have it. And you're going to want to bring a lunch because we don't have the money to buy everybody lunch. We apologize. We'll also ask everybody to sign photo releases. That's just so that we can share this great event with folks on the online and on our website. But basically, we start at 8 in the morning, checking in teams, welcoming everybody, and then by 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're going through the rotations of testing, judging, and taking the knowledge quiz. And then once all the teams have gotten through those rotations, usually takes about 3 to 4 hours, depending on how many teams there are, then we have an award ceremony. So somewhere between 2 and 3, we usually have an award ceremony. We give out trophies and some travel assistance if we have funds available for folks to get to the national challenge. Okay, I'm going to stop one last time before I show you all the great resources that we have that are free that you can use to prep a team. What was that, Linda?
Can you post the photo release form relatively early so we don't do that at the last minute?
Yes, we will definitely be able to put that right on the website.
Perfect. Some of my parents aren't very fast about getting it back, so the longer I have, the better off I am.
Okay, yeah, point taken. We'll try to put those on the website this year.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's a great suggestion. Anybody else have any questions before I head out, or before I move on? All right, so the rest of this presentation, I'll try to go through this relatively quickly because all of this is, we have a worksheet on our website that will run you through all this. But I just want to remind you that if you're planning to do this, if you're really thinking about prepping a team, or again, even just bringing wind energy activities into your classroom, there's a ton of free resources out there. And I'll go through all this stuff with you, and you can ask lots of questions. So key curricula resources, the NEED project has all free online PDF documents of their curriculum. And they have wind, they have a Wind for Schools curriculum, climate change, energy efficiency, solar, you name it, they've got a curriculum guide. Now the kits that go with the guides are not free, but I have them in a lending library, and you can borrow them from me if you so desire. KidWind worked with a environmental consulting company to put together the WindWise curriculum, and you can download those in PDF form on kidwind.org. I think that's where you can still get to it, or you can just Google WindWise KidWind. And again, you can do all those activities. There are kits that go along with them, but you can either make them yourself. You can call me and I can give you ideas of how to put a kit together for free or very little money, or you can buy them from either Vernier or Recharge Labs, and we'll just talk about all those websites. And then Vernier, if you've got the Vernier probes already, using some of the KidWind kits, you can do this great wind investigation. The curriculum book is like $20 to $25. But if you're interested in it, I have the book, and I will not tell anybody and make you photocopies. The other great thing that we love to see teachers using when they're prepping their kids are these great children's literature books, lots of books to just get them thinking about energy, wind energy, solar energy, energy conservation, engineering, and giving them an inspiration to do what they're doing. And again, reminding them that this is not just a fun challenge, but someday this could be a job for you. So The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind is great, My Light, Energy Island, Catch the Wind, and Win the World Over. And I can go through one by one and tell you awesome things about each one of them and why you might pick one over the other. There are some great apps out there for teaching about wind energy. The one that I love the most here is Wind Tunnel Pro HD. It's not free. But for $5, you basically get a wind tunnel where you can draw airfoils, and it'll actually calculate the lift to drag ratio for you, which is kind of cool if your kids are going to try undertaking airfoils and advanced blade design. Okay, here's the kit stuff. So if you want to buy stuff to start KidWind, you can buy them from Vernier. There's kits that have a bunch of stuff in it for starting to experiment with wind. And then there's like the basic parts, which is everything you need, but you just have to build the turbine and the blades out of materials that you have laying around. If you come to a coach training workshop, I'll give you a basic building parts kit $14 value, which actually I'll add a multimeter to, so it's like $20 value, super exciting. Or you're welcome to see if your department, county, district can invest in some of these other bigger kits. Now, the thing that I want to remind you is that the kits are great to start with, but I will encourage all of you, if this is something you think you're going to bring to the challenge, to quickly move your kids away from the kit. So use it as a way to get the point across, to start understanding the variables and the challenges, and then take it away and say, how do you make it better? What can you make this out of to make it even better without using KidWind parts?
And your kids will have more fun.
Yes, definitely. And then, of course, like I said, the NEED project, with their free curriculum, you can buy all their kits, but they're pretty hefty. But they have everything you need for 25 kids in the classroom, so they're classroom kits, as opposed to one-off kits like KidWind will have. But again, all of these things you can borrow from me for free through my lending library, and I'll show you that as well. Okay, here's the lending library. So I have all these free lending kits. Again, between the engineering design portion and then the knowledge quiz where you need context, pretty much any one of these kits would be fantastic to use in your classroom to teach them something, from wind farm design to siting turbines to, you know, understanding offshore floating turbines. I mean, all of it is relevant and all of it's super fun. This is our website. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and go straight to Google so I can show you a couple things. So, assuming it's going to let me do this. Okay, so I can't get to that when you're up there. All right. So here's the Vernier page. Again, it's vernier.com, and then under products you can find KidWind. And in here you'll find...
we're not seeing anything.
Oh, you're not seeing anything. Oh, hold on. I think it's because I'm sharing a certain application.
Right. 7-1 through like 5 innings.
Hi, nice to see you.
They take them out. Boston tied it up, and then like they got 6 runs and 7.
Okay.
They do that all the time. Were you watching it?
Okay, so here's the Vernier website.
They put it in Bolton or something.
And you can buy the hubs. So these hubs are an important part of KidWind stuff. Even if you are building your own blades and your own turbines.
They don't let our starters stay in long enough.
Hey, John, you may want to mute yourself.
And then Brandon Phillips Homer.
Okay. There you go. So those hubs are a really helpful piece. Even if you build everything else from scratch, it's a really helpful piece. And then, like I said, this is the basic turbine building part. So if you come to a workshop, you'll get a hub, you'll get the generator that you need to compete, and then some dowels, which is how you connect your blades to the hub. And I promise you'll get lots of hands-on experience if you come to a workshop.
And that kit is invaluable. It's only $14, and it's just really everything you need.
Awesome. Okay, and then here's the Recharge Labs page. So it's very confusing. KidWind Project was kind of the stuff that you use in your classroom, and then they sold a lot of that to Vernier. Recharge Labs is like the new KidWind, but this is where they're focusing on the challenges and professional development. So if you come here, you can participate in one of those online challenges. And you can view entries, you can see what you need to get ready to prepare for one. Here's the kit library. This is stuff that we have here at JMU. If you want to borrow it, it's free, but you got to pay for shipping or you got to be able to come and get it. So it's still not super expensive to ship these things. We shipped it to like Northumberland, one of our biggest kits to Northumberland for like $100. So this is, or $50 each way. So it's not too bad. And a lot of them are labeled KidWind Challenge, but under wind energy, you'll see the slew of things that you, so this is like the advanced wind kit. You know, we've got lots of different things that you can use to prep a team for the KidWind Challenge. And then the last thing I will show you, this is, and I will send you all these links, I promise. You don't have to write them down. This is our Virginia KidWind Challenge website. So you can find out lots of information about the KidWind Challenge at kidwindchallenge.org, which is down here. But just specific stuff about Virginia is going to be here. And under preparation events, you'll see that we've had the webinar for the administrators, and there's a recording. This is our coach webinars, and we'll put the recording up here soon. But then after this, the next step is to come to a hands-on coach workshop. And these will be $10, and you'll register in advance. We're having one in each region. So in Northern Virginia, we're holding one at Shenandoah University on October 18th. In Central Virginia, we're going to hold one at Apex in Charlottesville. We have not set the date, but I'm hoping for sometime that last week in September. Eastern Challenge, we've decided we're holding it at Renaissance Academy. We're looking also at October 18th. And then in Southwestern Virginia, we're looking to hold it at the Radford Public Schools somewhere, sometime. We haven't picked that, but that might be closer to November at that point. All of our practice days are on here. As we get the dates confirmed, they'll get on here. If you're in the Northern Virginia-ish area, we are doing some open makersmith days, maker workshops based on KidWind on November 3rd. And we are going to be doing our coach prep class again this year, which is basically weekly conference calls after school where coaches can work with each other and share successes and challenges and kind of mentor each other. So again, we're trying to provide a lot of resources to help folks be successful their first year. All right, I'm going to stop because I think I'm out of time, but if you guys have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer more questions.
I don't have any questions, so thank you for your time today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I hope that you'll look back and sign up for a teacher hands-on workshop when they're up and running.
Thank you, Remy.
Yeah, no problem. Linda, I'll be looking for your help with some of those workshops. I'll get with you offline.
I'm glad to do that, yes.
Sounds good.
They're Saturdays, right?
Those might be after-school workshops.
Okay. I mean, I'll do what I can.
Yeah, that'll be great.
All right, and Remy, thank you very much. This is Gary over in Northumberland.
Awesome, Gary. Thanks for being here. Let me know what we can do to help you guys.
All right, thank you.
Okay, have a good one.
All right, take care. Bye.